Hotel staff of Reddit. Have you ever had sex with a client? How did it end up happening? Not my proudest moment, but once went out with a guest, and after a night out we were both wasted, and she dragged me inside the hotel instead of going to my place. I was wasted, and we ended up inside the toilet and the night shift had to kick us out. Have no idea how I kept the job. Yes, I used to work night audit, 11p7a, about 2 am. This sporty blonde walks in. She's about 10 years older than me. So I try to lay down some marksy. Her response is cordial, but dismissive like or that's cute. That nice young man tried. 15 minutes later, a cute redhead walks in. I failed with the blonde. Shoot for the redhead. She's much more responsive. Turns out, they work together. 3 kids later. Our 20th anniversary is next month and the blonde is still a very close friend. I work as a waiter in a restaurant that belongs to the hotel. One night a table of 4 American girls, I'm Irish, around the same age as me showed up. Were really nice and kinda flirty. I thought nothing of it really is flirting. Is a part of my job to a certain extent. They asked me good places to go out in the city I live. So I gave them an extensive list and we chatted for like 15 minutes about the town and what goes on. They left soon after, and I thought they were gone for good. But my best friend works breakfast shift, and met them for breakfast the next morning. They mentioned me from the restaurant, and how they are going out tonight in the city. My friend has bigger balls than me, and asked them to go drinking with us to show them the Irish way of drinking. We had a great night. I ended up having 6 with one. And my friend got one too. Went on a road trip the next day around the area, saw some castles and and she stayed at my house the second night before she went back stateside. Was a memorable couple of days for sure. Yes, I did. It started a year-long relationship. He worked the front desk of a not so classy hotel 3 to 11 p.m. A lot of guests at the hotel lived there, and we were generally not busy aside from those living there. So working the evening shift. After 5 p.m. I was the only person on staff. Guys would come by the front desk to talk and flirt. The guys that lived there were generally very kind and would bring me dinner and keep me company without anything more. I'd hang out in the lobby with them while they played cards and bullshit with them. One of the guys started spending more and more time at the desk with me. We hooked up one night and you can guess the rest. 1 year into seeing each other, I found out he had an entire secret family. But that's another story. Plenty of wasted women have drunk flirted with me, but the only time I was actually propositioned was around 5 am during a weekend night shift. This blonde girl who looked kind of like Elisha Cuth but walked right up to the desk with a big smile on her face and asked me to come upstairs and double team her with her boyfriend. She was out of my league and then some, which made me suspicious. But I'm sure as S not gonna get myself fired for a MMF 3-way. Edit, MFM. Whatever. Sorry for not getting my Craigslist lingo right. I currently work at a resort. Got a BJ from my favorite housekeeper in a vacant room about 3 weeks ago. Now we are having casual sex at my apartment. I met the girl who works at the Doubletree front desk. She gave me her number. It's 0. Mitch Hedberg. Yes I did. 3 times in 6 years. One. I would work 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. for a few years. That's the shift to have if you're going to want for encounters. The first time, there were 2 women in their late 20s or early 30s who were traveling with a group in the Department of Defense. They were my smoke break buddies. I don't smoke, but they offered, and they were pretty, so that night I smoked. We chit-chatted and casually flirted throughout the night and they invited me back to their room since they were gonna pop open a bottle of wine. The flirting got much more intense, too. One night there were 3 college-aged girls who were coming to town for a funeral for a friend who was pushed in front of a train. It was a local tragedy that made some national press. Turns out, I was friends with the victim's cousin. So the 3 of them invited me to have a few beers in her memory. The one girl and I were vibing really well, and her 2 friends noticed and gave us some space. One went for a walk and the other decided to take a long shower with her Bluetooth speaker playing loud enough to cover up outside noise. 3. There was a wedding after party. The bridegroom and their friends were cool, but I remember both of their families were kinda trashy, but in a fun way. Like mother of the bride doing the longest keg stand of my life in the lobby with Natty Light or something kinda trashy. But like I said, the couple and their friends were cool. The bride wasn't drinking, she was pregnant, and didn't want baby Jameson, or some name BTW, to have any namesake. The entire after party there are some people trying to give me drinks. In particular were two bridesmaids. The one, Heather, was especially flirty, and when I clocked out she invited me to join them going to the bar across the parking lot. I get there, do a few shots to catch up, and in an hour or so we head back to Heather's room, going in the side door, so my coworkers don't see. Edit, I'm going to add details. Just wanted to put the comment down before I forgot. Not me, but I was staying at a hotel and the receptionist was being really flirty with the customer, who just so happened to have the room next to me. Later I was going to the vending machine and I saw her, the receptionist, knock on his door, and when I came back from the vending machine there was a do not disturb thing on the door and I just grinned and went in my room. The next day, when we were leaving, I saw both of the man. Told them good job and thanks for not keeping us up like I thought they would. Both of them damn near died when I said that, because at the time I was a kid just starting puberty. Do hostels count? Because if so, the answer is yes. A lot. With lots of different people. My go-to line was, hey, my shift ends in 1H and I know this bar where there are not so many tourists. European capital. Lots of tourists everywhere. It's something more locals only. How about you join me for a glass of red wine? It's about 15 minutes walking from here. Of the girls I actually gave this pitch, I would say about 95% said yes. I mean, who's gonna say no to going to a bar with the local hostel guy who knows a place with no tourists? Hell yeah. Drinks followed. Then I put the moves on them, and if successful I would bring them home to my place, which is conveniently walking distance from the bar. I worked in a hostel for 4 years. Let me tell you this, if you are a single guy working the front desk of a hostel in a trendy European capital or big city, you will be a very lucky man. I've since moved on from that life. Funny enough, yesterday was the 7th anniversary of the day I met my current wife. In the hostel. Where else? Not a guest, but a friend was wanting it, and she came over during overnight shift. One guest was quite a bit too flirty with me in front of her husband, and the husband just kinda smiled and went along with it. Opportunities certainly show up every now and then. First and only time. I was setting up a small banquet room for a dinner party for some doctors. The woman hosting the event brought her 22-year-old daughter. I was 33 at the time. I also look much younger than I actually am. Her daughter helped set up the dining tables, placing decorations. We started casually talking about her stay here and small talk. She asked if I had a girlfriend, which was my signal. She followed me around like a puppy dog practically all that night. I even ended up being the one to serve her table her and her mother were sitting at. It was a little annoying because I believe the mother knew her daughter's interest and was constantly flagging me down for small talk when I had 40 other guests to tend to. Long story short, as the function ends, her daughter asks if I'm doing anything after work, asks me to pick her up later that night. Lots of phone tag follows until about 2 AM when she finally tells me she wants to come over to my place. Turns out she was waiting for her mother to fall asleep so she could sneak out. When Sil arrives and I open my door for her to enter my house, she immediately kisses me and we proceed to smash for about 30 minutes tops. I barely got to know her. I even find out she has a boyfriend in Dallas, and if I'm ever in town to call her, she leaves around 5 AM. I text her the next day and no reply. Never heard from her again. Was incredibly unreal and kind of an eye-opener for me in some ways.